Have you ever had someone offer you help, but it felt, well, more like a trap? Today, we're going to dive into a really sharp ancient fable that, you'll see, has a surprisingly modern lesson about predators who show up disguised as helpers.
So our story kicks off with a character we all know, a cat, who's in a pretty desperate situation. I mean, this cat was starving, and we all know a hungry predator is a creative one.
And then, what do you know, an opportunity just presents itself. The cat gets wind that a group of birds nearby, his natural prey, are sick, they're vulnerable, and they're looking for a doctor. This is the perfect opening for a very cunning plan.
And here it is, the disguise. See, the cat doesn't show up as a hunter. Oh no. He shows up as a healer. He puts on the whole uniform of a doctor, a pair of spectacles to look wise, a little leather box for his, medicine. He's basically betting that the performance of care will be enough to fool them. But the birds aren't buying it for a second. They look right past the costume and see the predator standing there. And their response? It is just brilliant. It's polite, but it is firm. They just laugh it off, totally exposing how absurd the cat's whole act really is. So the cat's plan was a total flop. But the real question is, why did it fail? You see, this Aesop's fable isn't just some cute little story. It's actually a perfect example of a biological strategy called aggressive mimicry. That's when a predator imitates something harmless to get close. And in this case, it just failed, spectacularly.
Let's just break down the players here. On one side, you've got the cat. He's the desperate opportunist, right? He honestly believes that a simple costume can hide what he really wants. And on the other side, we have the birds. They represent the power of collective intelligence. For them, survival literally depends on being able to see the claws hiding behind the spectacles. And this whole idea, a predator wearing a mask of kindness, that gets us right to the core concept for today. This fable is the perfect illustration of a very specific and very manipulative strategy, one that actually uses the language of help as a weapon. And here's the name for it. Malicious altruism. It's the tactic of putting on that helper mask with one single purpose, to get a target to lower their guard. The cat wasn't just pretending to be a doctor, he was weaponizing the very idea of helping someone.
And this, right here, shows you the deception perfectly. The mask, the costume, is all about symbols of care. Glasses for wisdom, a medicine box, a concerned voice. But the reality behind that mask? It's pure predator. It's hungry eyes, it's a hunter's tools, and it's a desperate search for any sign of weakness.
So here's the central warning from the whole story, and it's a really powerful one. When someone who has always been an adversary suddenly starts acting all concerned about you, it's probably not a change of heart. More often than not, it's a recon mission. They're not checking on you, they're checking for your vulnerabilities. Okay, so a cat in glasses. How does this apply to our lives, right? Well, let's bring this ancient wisdom right into the modern world, because you're going to see these scenarios are very, very familiar. So here are 3 classic disguises that we see all the time. First, on the personal level, it's that frenemy, right? The one who calls to check in when you're in a crisis, but you know they're just fishing for gossip. Then there's the interpersonal, that toxic family member who loves giving unsolicited advice, but it's really all about control. And finally, the professional one, the competitor who wants to partner up when you know they really just want to peek at your data. So what are the pitfalls here? Why do we fall for these kinds of traps? Well, it's because they're so good at making intrusion sound like care. We mistake a performance of wisdom for real support. And before we know it, we've given them access to our inner world, to our nest, and that's when they can do some real damage.
So if these predators are so common, how in the world do we defend ourselves? Well, the answer, just like it was for the birds in the fable, is already inside us. It's all about learning to trust that built-in alarm system we all have.
You know, in a lot of philosophical traditions, this defense actually has a name. It's called discernment. In Sanskrit, it's viveka. And it just means the fundamental skill of seeing things as they really are, not just how they appear to be. It's our power to separate the mask from the face. And hey, this isn't just some ancient philosophy. Modern cybersecurity has a term for this exact same tactic, social engineering. It is the digital wolf in sheep's clothing. It's the art of manipulating people into bypassing their own security, whether that's a computer network or your own personal boundaries. So, I want you to think of your gut feeling, your intuition, as this highly advanced radar system. Your logical brain might see the doctor's costume and think, oh, okay, but your intuition feels the predator's claw. That feeling, that little internal tweet of alarm, that is your most reliable guide. And this brings us to a really crucial question we have to ask ourselves. Why do we so often ignore that internal alarm? Why does that social pressure to just be polite sometimes completely override our most basic survival instincts? It's a powerful and kind of uncomfortable thing to think about, isn't it?
Okay, so we know the danger. How do we actively get better at this whole discernment thing? Let's dive into some practical, actionable tools that can help keep us safe and wise.
All right, here are the key lessons we can take directly from those birds. First, judge a visitor by their history, not by their costume. What have they done in the past? Second, remember that your best defense is a strong boundary, a locked door. Third, never forget that a so-called helping hand can be a claw and a very nice glove. And finally, don't you dare be too polite to laugh at a quack. You don't owe politeness to a predator.
And to really make this wisdom a part of who you are, think about these growth mantras. You can think of them as like code that you can run in your own mind to strengthen that internal alarm system. They're just powerful affirmations of your own wisdom and your fundamental right to feel safe.
Ultimately, it really all boils down to this one simple, powerful piece of advice. The props might look convincing, the performance might seem genuine, but never, ever let them talk you out of your own common sense.
And we're going to end on this one final profound thought. It's such a crucial reminder that real help, real healing, it can only ever come from a place of genuine care. It will never come from someone whose entire history is about consumption and harm. You got to trust the birds on this one. They knew exactly who to keep on the other side of the door.